this cross I see your story. Every tear, every hidden memory. I feel the weight you've carried long, the silent battles you fought alone. But I am here to lift your burden, to take the guilt you couldn't bear. I stepped into your darkest valley to show you love was always there. This pain I bear is not by force, it's what I chose, it's why I came. The Father sent me for this moment, take your sorrow, heal your shame. I took your place, I bore your cross. I carried all that you had lost, your fear, your failures, every scar. I felt them all upon my arms. I stayed through every breath of pain, so you could rise and live again. The Father's love is on my face. I took your place. Hear my voice above the anguish. You're forgiven, still I say. Your broken heart is why I'm bleeding. Your wandering soul is why I stayed. No shame you hide, it's too much for me. No sin too heavy for my hands. I'm giving all my life completely, so you can finally stand again. Don't look away from what I'm showing. Don't hide your face from grace this time. I'm laying down my life in full, to pull your heart back close to mine. I took your place, I bore your cross. I carried all that you had lost, your fear, your failures, every scar. I felt them all upon my arms. I stayed through every breath of pain, so you could rise and live again. The Father's love is on my face. And when the darkness tells you lies, when shame reminds you of your past, look to this cross, remember this. I paid the price, it's done, it's past. The Father will not turn from you, His mercy stands through what I've done. He'll raise me by His mighty hand, and through my wounds your hope will come. I took your place, so you could live, and I gave my all, so you'd forgive. Your chains are gone, your chains are gone. Your heart is free, your heart is free. The Father's love, the Father's love is over thee. He'll raise me up, as He has planned, He has planned. I took your place, so take my hand. I took your place, so take my hand.
Hey, good to see you, Daniel and Clayt. How are you?
Ah, doing well. Good to see you. But hey, let's listen to that song again, man.
Yeah, hey. Yeah, it's a fantastic song. It
It
is an
is, man.
awesome song. I sometimes I have it on loop when I'm doing my little researching and studying and stuff, and it's an awesome song.
Indeed. Yeah, he's got a number of them that are pretty good, man. But that one's
Yeah,
definitely like right there at
that
the
one
top
and
of that
I
list.
Am Jehovah is another one that's right there.
Yeah. Yep. I like that "Come to Me" song. He has two versions of that apparently.
Come Back to Me, or
Yeah, it's called
yeah,
"Come
that
Back
one's a
to
good
Me."
one as well.
Mhm. Yeah, the one version, it's like anything. One version's better than the other, but lyrically they're both good. But I do prefer the one over the other.
Yeah, he needs to get me the one that supposedly is the better one, which um,
Yeah, that's got the chorus in it and everything, or like the choir and stuff with
yeah, I
singing.
don't remember. I remember hearing different ones that
Yeah, it's
the
a
one he
longer
gave me wasn't
version
the
too.
one that he, I guess, meant to. Or anyways,
Yeah,
he'll get it to me when he can.
yeah. What's the Servant King? That's a good one, and there's two versions to that, but he's got a country version. I really that one's pretty cool. I like the riff in it. That one just grabs me for the riff of it.
Yeah, brought back
Yeah,
to
but
you,
it's
come back to me, King of Kingdoms, return
yep,
to
yep,
me.
yep.
This one I took your place. Thank you, Messiah.
It
I
is
am
finished.
Jehovah, and
That one's
thank
a
you
good
for
one.
the cross. That's the ones I have.
Yeah, it is finished is a good one too.
Well, hey,
Yeah, I'm
hey,
waiting for
Freddie,
that one.
are you on YouTube?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I'm on my Freddy channel.
Okay, I can't find it even on my if I click my history or I'm clicking
it's a
live.
different channel.
It's
It's
a
a different
different.
channel.
Let me send it to you. I sent you the link, the StreamYard link, so you can be
Yep.
here. Like obviously that you are, but let me send you the YouTube link so you can see.
Okay.
So
I just
I
found that
sent it to you on
interesting.
Facebook Messenger.
I was I was mainly looking just so I could see what the topic was, but
Well, over here on this channel, I tend to do more about Islam and incorporate it with
okay.
reading scripture, try to do it together and other things like that. But I just wanted to have just an open discussion. Even the title is Allah is not the true God, the Father of Israel, but I kind of wanted to just talk whatever and not necessarily related to that. But I was thinking of it's always been interesting to me is when the when Noah came out of the ark and the Tower of Babel, right? There was one language. It's like, well, what was that language? Personally, I tend to believe it was the Hebrew language. Um, I don't see why it wouldn't be. Uh, and then I also believe leading up to that to the Tower of Babel when God confounded their language and made multiple languages. I am of the opinion that God also changed the outward physical bodily appearances to where, for example, when the languages were changed, and obviously when someone spoke Chinese, they took on that exterior, physical features. Japanese, they took on that. The the Indians and they, took on those features from India. The Spanish took on their features. The Africans took on their features. The Middle Easterns took on theirs, and so on and so on. I know it doesn't say any of that in Scripture, but I just think to me it's logical, it's reasonable. You know, I don't see any how it would have been any other way. Um, I mean, if God is all powerful, almighty, and he changes the language, why couldn't he just change the physical outward appearance?
Yeah, I kind of I see that kind of thing in the temples too.
Let's see,
Like all
Michelle Lester or Michelle Stewart.
Daniel, were you replying to
Oh, I
Freddie?
was.
Greeting.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
You were far
Jeez.
away, man. So, or at
Oh, I
least
didn't
you
know.
sounded far away.
Was Daniel speaking, trying to
Yeah, but
respond?
he sounded like he was real far
Oh, I
away.
didn't even hear anything. Wow.
How about now? Is it
Oh, I
good?
hear you now.
Oh, okay. No, like you said, the language and everything, you think it was all of one. I kind of think the whole formation of all these other religions or spin offs, just like the language. Like Babylon's described like the ziggurat, and when he scatters everybody and, tears down that, then I think you get the pyramids and all these other religions that were sprawling out.
Yeah. Well, see,
Same thing as the
after
language.
after Noah, right, when they came out, and then he started multiplying, and you have now a multitude of people, however many that may have been. They had one language they were speaking, and so there was one language at the time of the Tower of Babel, right?
Yeah.
So when he confounded the languages, then the scripture says, then they scattered to their own land or their own place, so to speak. I'm just paraphrasing. Now, to me, when he changed the language, because there was one language, so those that spoke Chinese, I believe they were changed, took on the feature. They went to China. Those that were speaking, you know, Spanish went to Spain. Portuguese went to Portugal, and so on, without having to continue on, which is obvious. And that's just how I see it. I'm not saying that's how it is. I'm just, like I said, it's just my opinion, my view. To me, it just makes sense to me. Because otherwise, I don't see really how it would be if everyone was one language, and they came from Adam and Eve all the way to Noah. Noah had his 3 sons and his wife, and they were of one ethnicity, whatever that may have been. I would still tend to think it would be Hebrew, because you have Abraham, who is called, and he's Hebrew. And then when you look at the lineage from Abraham, which goes to Noah all the way to Adam, so it makes sense to me. Then you have God, right? God the Father, the Creator, and just everything's in Hebrew. I don't see any other logical, rational reason to think otherwise, that it wouldn't be Hebrew. And ultimately he chose Abram, and out of Abram comes a nation, and it's Abraham now. That's just kind of how I see it. Let's
Yeah, I
see
don't
what.
obviously I don't necessarily know if it was Hebrew, but I don't see why it wouldn't have been too, from Adam and Eve. But I don't know that for certainty. That just does seem to be the reasonable thing to believe
Yeah,
that it would have been.
I just noticed you're private, so yeah, no problem. And you're good to go.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, as far as the features and stuff like that, I don't know. I think
Let
that's
me.
something that happened.
Oh well, what you just said about the Chaldean. Well, I mean, I'm sorry that they were speaking.
What's that?
I said no. I thought it was. No, you know what?
Who are you talking to, Freddie?
Yes, I see it now. That sounds really well. That sounds like definitely it fits right in. I like that about the one language. Of course, they had to speak one language, or all in. Yeah. Well, it just makes sense to me. There was one language. Now, again, we can say one language, it's irrelevant, and yeah, it could be, but obviously there was one language. Now, makes sense to me that when Moses is writing what we believe to be the Pentateuch, the Torah, the five books, and everything's in Hebrew, and all the names, when you look at the names, they're Hebrew and they have meanings, so it makes sense to me. Why wouldn't God, when he created Adam and he's speaking, why? Obviously there has to be a language. He told Adam to name the animals. Adam was given all this wisdom and knowledge right from the get-go. And why wouldn't it have been a Hebrew language, whatever language it may be? but it would have been one language, and that language, whatever it was from Adam, went to Noah, and it's stated in Scripture that at that time there was one language. Let's see. Yeah, that makes really good sense in actuality. When you think about it, it's common sense. It's right. It's got to be. Yeah, thank you. Like I said, that's my personal view. That's my opinion. I'm not stating that it's fact or that it's, scriptural. I'm just thinking on it, and it makes just sense to me because of Scripture saying there's one language. We can assume anything. We can say no, it's not Hebrew, but that's fine. I'm not against somebody saying it's not. But no one can say what it is based on Scripture, and to me, based on Scripture, I'm believing that it is. Why would it not be? I mean, when it says there's one language, so what? Well, what language was it? Well, we don't know. That's fine. I'm just saying I believe it was Hebrew. And
It was the Archean language.
well, pardon me.
The Archean language.
The Archean.
Yeah,
the
from
art
Noah's
from the
Ark.
Ark.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It just makes sense to me. It seems very reasonable and very logical, rational.
No, it definitely does seem to be the way that it would have been as far as. But like I said, man, aside from the stuff about the appearance and all that, I think that just naturally happened over time through genetics. But I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's how long did it take? How many years? I don't remember there may have been some years given in the Scripture somewhere, but obviously it had to be of some time for Noah and his 3 sons and their wives to, there had to be a time of procreation and a multiply of people. There had to be enough people there over time.
Ooh, Daniel, what are you doing over there, man?
I'm
He's
sorry.
going
Can
hog
you
wild
still
over
hear me?
there.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm trying to make a muting device.
A
Trying to make
muting
what?
device.
Yeah, man, he's crowing. It's early. Get up.
I want to go outside and I want to be able to mute and unmute, which I can't do remotely. And so right now I've got a cap and some cloth over my mic, but it sounds like that didn't work because you can still hear me good.
Yeah. They don't have. You can't hit the mute on the screen there?
Well, yeah,
Okay, I'll
but the
mute you, and then you
computers.
can just unmute when you want.
Yeah, but my computer's inside, so when I'm outside and I want to say something, then
Yeah, well, I'll leave it
Not
on
good.
mute then. No worries. It's not that bad. It's no big deal. It's not like we're really talking deeply and people need to hear, but this is an open session, so the roosters and goats are welcome too.
it does say preach the gospel to every living creature.
Oh, I can hear the rooster, but I don't hear you, Daniel.
You said it does say to preach the gospel to every living.
Yeah, preach the
living
gospel
creature,
to
I
every
believe you said.
creature. That's what we're gonna do. I'm gone with the roosters. Yeah, it just makes sense to me. I think it's very logical, very reasonable.
Hey, you
No.
want to hear the good news, Rooster? You're gonna be dinner later.
My wife gets a kick out of it because I'll get the dogs all riled up and pretend like I'm preaching them the gospel.
Yeah, let's.
How far away from your mic are you, Daniel? How far?
My headset. has them like that.
Well, how far are you from your headset?
I'm wearing it right now.
Oh, well, because you sound low. Like right there, that rooster sounds way louder than you do when you're talking.
That's crazy. The rooster's outside, and I just spoke
Yeah.
to the cat.
Well, maybe it's a directional mic, and whatever it's facing, the angle that wherever that rooster is.
Yeah, I just wish I could push a button and mute it, but
Yeah,
nothing
because you
just-
sound louder there. Like I don't know
Yeah,
if
check
you
your
heard, but you
Bibles. Check your
sound louder.
Bible. See what is given. You know, I'm gonna read chapter 10 till we get to 11, where it gets into the Tower of Babel. But
Yeah.
you know, it's going to talk about the generation. See, some people think like when Jacob. Isaac had Jacob and Esau, twins, and they make it as if they were different ethnicities. You know, we've heard all that nonsense, but because one was a bit hairier than the other or something, and they try to make these things out to be very, racial or different ethnicities, but it's ridiculous.
Mhm.
And even going back with Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and then they say a certain ethnicity came from each one. Different. It's ridiculous to me. From Adam and Eve through procreation and people, there's just one ethnicity of people, one language, one people, whatever it is. I'm not getting into skin color and ethnicity. It's not about that. I'm focusing on that there's one language and one people, whatever it may be. And if you have Adam and Eve, whatever they were, you're not going to have a variations of all this different languages coming out and different colors of skin of people and ethnicities doing that. It's not going to work that way. It would have had to have come when God would have done something. When God changed the languages, that's how I see where you have different ethnicities come in to play. And you would still have from Noah to Abraham that one ethnicity, that one language that would have continued on from Adam to Noah to Abraham and all the way through. But then you have the scattering of people with the different languages. And that's where I see that come in. So even you have the scattering of people in different languages, it still goes all the way back to Noah. So people should really just look at it and just say, we're all really one people. God changed languages. And, because of that time, the people had the one language and they were building the tower to heaven. They all knew about God. And so when their language was changed, see, this is where my thinking comes in again. Even though their language changed in whatever language they're speaking, I believe they still had that knowledge that they had of God, of Noah, of the ark. So that's why in some countries, some historical documents that we find about that they talk about this. It's not that they came across it accidentally or any of that. It was passed on. I believe they had all that knowledge that there was a flood, there was Noah in the ark, and they had that. They wrote about it. So that's how I believe that many of these nations had it in their own language, their own tongue. Daniel went out for a bit, so he's muted, and Clayt had to go away for a bit. He might be
I'm here.
gone. Are you
I'm
still here?
Yep. I didn't have to run off, so Maybe I
Oh, you
won't
haven't
have
run
to.
off yet?
No, I may not have to.
Oh, you may not have to. Okay.
Nah.
Well, just chime in when you want.
Okay.
Um, you know, that's just how I see it. To me, it just makes sense. It just seems very logical, very reasonable. Doesn't I'm not saying anything that doesn't seem like, out of the ordinary or something that like God couldn't do. Um, I
Yeah,
mean, when you
but
think about it, if the languages were changed, then we have to say, well, what language? What's a language? Well, I guess we can say that it's all these languages we're all familiar with. Uh, and why wouldn't, at that moment, the people take on that exterior bodily features that we would look at someone when and we would know, oh, that's that type of person. They speak this language, because we know when someone speaks a language and we see them, the language, attaches to the physical appearance, and just makes sense to me.
yeah, I wonder if God caused like every nation that was created out of all those people, into to speak different languages, or maybe certain ones spoke the same kind of language. You know what I mean? But he just divided it up into main languages among maybe there would have been like 7 or 8 different ones just to separate the people. You know what I mean? Instead of them being all one big group of people like they were.
You mean one ethnicity of people with one language? What are you stating? So
Yeah, instead of like I don't know how many languages God separated them into, but I'm wondering if it was less rather than more. But then over time, other languages just evolved out of it. Kind of like, how English came out of whatever it came out of, and now it's the English language is what it is today,
yeah, but you
right?
know something though, that's what I hear, but I tend to not really necessarily embrace that. Here's why, in a way. It could, now it could. I mean, language, everything has to come from God, a creator. And for man to create a language, he would have already had to had a language. See, there would have to for a language to come out, it would already come from someone that had a language, whatever language they spoke.
Right,
Then you would have to have another language come out of a language. Now,
right.
but when you look at the languages, there's very very close similarities, like Chinese, and you look at all these Asians, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Thailand, they're very similar. They're very close. And then as you go from one language to another within the nations and the continents, then and there's very similar. And you can go into other languages, take Italian and Spanish and Portuguese. They're very similar words, uh, very close. And then you look at the German, um, and you look at some of that Belgium and the Danish and some of these other ones. They're very similar, overlapping. Um, Now, was English its own language as one of the languages, or did it evolve from some of these other languages? You know,
Yeah, it evolved
it could
out of
have.
other
I'm
ones.
not against that, but um, it's it could. But God is going to create a language, and then when He created the other languages, obviously, then He would have had to make the people understand that their words would have a meaning in their language, but it would also have that same meaning in every other language when people would compare the words to what it is. Like whatever language they say the sun, like we say the sun that's in the sky, that's given us the light, whatever language it is in there, they would know, and it would all refer to the sun, that we would know, yeah, that's the sun. Whatever word it is, it's the sun. Whatever word for mountain, we would all know that that's the mountain, whatever word in their language it's referring to. But so I can see how it would seem a language would come out of another language, but but like English would come out. There's some Spanish involved, German, French. I mean, it's just I don't know. It just seems like I would be giving too much credit to man to create it's a language. I just see the very overlay and similar ties to the languages themselves when you look at them and how close they resemble one as you continue looking at them. I don't know if I've explained myself well enough, but
No, I understand your point. You know,
yeah, I don't know.
see
It's
thing.
just for me, I think we're giving too much credit for a human being to just to create a language. But I am I do understand that over time the languages have changed because of interbreeding with other languages. When people come in and one word with another word, there's a slang and they kind of overlap, and people bring in different words as time evolves, and you don't have words for certain things. For example, look at all this technology. There wasn't words for that then. Now we're making words up to explain things, but we have that knowledge now. See, we have that understanding, and we can create words to name things, like a computer, you know, and so other languages don't have that word computer, but they will have to make it adjust into their language. So I don't know. It's just it's interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember watching something where they were talking about like trying to explain to people about writing on paper with like some kind of pen or a pencil, right? But the point is, how do you write that to in a language like, because not everybody has a written language, right? So you go in there to make a written language for them. How do you really describe certain things like that when that's not part of their culture, right? Because now it's becoming one, right? Because if they didn't read and write, but now you're bringing that to them. But the point is that they use like the word banana leaf or something like that as the word to mean paper, and then writing on it, like however they describe that. But that's how they communicated the thought to them about paper. You know, it's kind of like that thing that you were saying about like making up words to put in there. You know, but that's also the other point is how words can morph to mean other things at times, right? It's a banana leaf's a banana leaf, but it can also be referring to paper now.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard that as well. I don't see. I tend to believe that every language would have the ability to write their words, their language down. I don't know. I'm not. I don't hold to a lot of supposed historians and thinking, well, they couldn't write a language. I mean, how are you going to teach someone their language and convey it? I mean, yes, there's oral, but
Mhm.
how would someone know how unless they couldn't see it? See, the Hebrew language is very unique, and I think it was intentionally designed that way by God. That like a line uh, a letter would also represent some type of animal or something, or a human part of the body, like an eye or an ear, and then you make another mark, and it creates a whole picture, and so you can have a letter, and just in a letter, and as you make more marks, it tells you more of what that word is saying, and then you put more letters and more marks to make more. It seems very powerful that within the letters itself can tell you two or three words in it to explain what it's trying to convey. and then you put them all together, and it's very powerful. Just like how God would have words and names, and the name in the names of people, you have God's name, and it would say certain things. Um, and then other languages doesn't necessarily have that. So I think that's why even more with the Hebrew language, the language of God, is to convey so much in there for people to see. Yeah, I think it's just powerful. And then we get to the Greek, and I think the Greek is similar and a very powerful language at the time, uh, to actually convey a lot of information to people, because it has that similar thing of that language to really say what words mean. Yeah, Daniel, right. So much life in it. A letter and a word isn't just a word that you hear a sound to understand something, but there's so much meaning in it. Let's see. The 3 types of people you design. There's 3 types of people. Interesting. Yeah, that's kind of how I see it. I've heard some ridiculous beliefs of how certain people became the way they are over time, or because of the sun, or because of the weather, the climate, the desert, this, that, and the other. That really just makes no sense to me. I think that's, again, man coming up with stuff, and then you don't have any real evidence of it. It's just a bunch of speculative belief and conjecture, and where, to me, I just try to make it really simple and just put everything on God. The Creator, Father, is capable. I mean, if He can change the language, which obviously for God that's not impossible, it's been done. It just makes sense to me. The exterior body features were changed. I mean, how else? If you're going to have there was one language, one people, from Adam to Noah to Abraham, and then you have all these different languages, then everybody would just be of the same looking features, but speak different languages. That wouldn't make sense. So that's why I think God made people look different with regard to the language they speak. Um, Clay, you there?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's read some of this. I'm gonna. Now, if I mispronounce some names, just forgive me, because I haven't read much of these in a
Freddie,
long
if you
time.
mispronounce some of those names, pretty
I'm
much
gonna say it like I know what I'm talking about.
Well, most people won't even know you're pronouncing it. That's
That's the thing. I think that's the trick. Just pronounce it like you know what you're
Say
saying.
it with
And
confidence.
yeah, make it up as you go. Okay. Now these are the generations. Let me bring this up so we can follow along.
What chapter are you reading from?
I'm going to read Genesis. Genesis 10.
Oh man.
It says, now these are the
And it's a
generations
list
of
of
the
names,
sons
man.
of Noah, Shem, Ham, Japheth, and unto them were sons born after the flood. The sons of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, and Madai, and Javan, Tubal, and Meshach, and Tiras. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. But these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands.
Yeah,
Everyone
you know,
after. Go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say a number of those names, like when you're reading the Bible, a number of those names come up as areas. You know, like they are lands in the future when you're reading through the Bible. So I am curious about if they're linked to these individuals. You know what I mean? Which I tend to think that they are. I don't know for a certainty, but we are told that out of these, the three sons, there was like 70 nations that came from them, right? So
Right.
that's why I think that these folks, like when you read the names, they have to be going back more or less to these people in most cases. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, it goes. It actually we can even just isolate it all the way to Noah.
Hmm.
Uh, Noah had these three sons, and then this has just given us a highlight here, an example. And from the three sons came more sons, more people, and I think this is just like a prelude to what it is after the languages were changed. Uh, but we'll read. Look, it's so by these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, every one after his tongue, after their families and their nations. And the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, and Put, and Canaan. And the sons of Cush, Seba, Havilah, and Sabta, Ramah, and Subtekta, and the sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before Jehovah. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Jehovah. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, and the land of Shinar. Out of that land went forth Asher, and builded Nineveh, and the city of Rehoboth, and Calah. And Rezin between Nineveh and Calah, the same as a great city. And Mizraim begat Ludim, and Ananim, and Lehabim, and Naphtuhim, and Pathruzim, and Casulim, out of whom came Philistinim, and Capitorum. And Canaan begat Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgasite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. And afterward were the families of the Canaanites spread abroad. And the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon, and thou comest Gerar unto Gaza, as thou goest unto Sodom and Gomorrah, and Edom and Zeboim, even unto Lasha. These are the sons of Ham after their families, after their tongues, in their countries, and in their nations. Unto Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth, the elder, even to him were children born. The children of Shem, Elam, and Asher, Arphaxad, and Lud, and Aram, or Aram. And the children of Aram, Uz, Hol, Gether, and Mash. And Arphaxad begat Salah, and Salah begat Eber. And unto Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days was the earth divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. And Joktan begat Almadad, and Shalef, and Hazarmaveth, and Jerah, and Hadoram, and Uzal, and Diklah, and Ubal, and Abimael, and Sheba, and Ophir, and Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan. And their dwelling was Mesha, as thou goest unto Sephar, a mount of the east. These are the sons of Shem after their families, after their tongues, and their lands, after their nations. These are the families of the sons of Noah after their generations, in their nations. And by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. So that's interesting.
Indeed.
Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah. Oh, wait a minute, what happened here?
Went back
6,
to the
11,
beginning of
go
the
to 11.
chapter.
Okay. And the whole earth was of one language and one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said to one another, Go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And Jehovah came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And Jehovah said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So Jehovah scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because Jehovah did there confound the language of all the earth. And from thence did Jehovah scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived, after he begat Arphaxad, 500 years and begat sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 35 years and begat Salah. And Arphaxad lived, after he begat Salah, 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Salah lived 30 years and begat Eber. And Salah lived, after he begat Eber, 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Eber lived 34 years and begat Peleg. And Eber lived, after he begat Peleg, 430 years and begat sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years and begat Ruah. And Peleg lived, after he begat Ruah, 209 years and begat sons and daughters. And Ruah lived 32 years and begat Serug. And Ruah lived, after he begat Serug, 207 years and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years and begat Nahor. And Serug lived, after he begat Nahor, 200 years and begat sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years and begat Terah. And Nahor lived, after he begat Terah, 119 years and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran begat Lot. So we can see even up to this lineage is coming from Noah. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of nativity in Ur of the Chaldees. And Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarah, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and the father of Iscah. But Sarai was barren, she had no child. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan, and they came unto Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. So we see that lineage from Noah to Abram. You see that?
Yep, good stuff, right?
Good stuff. Yeah. I mean, even reading it, it still takes time to let it sink in. We have to, I know for me, I would have to read it over and over slower and just think on it. But
Yeah,
it's this is not something you can just read it and just absorb it. I mean, maybe some that are way much more brighter than I can do it, but it takes me time.
yeah,
But I say that when the language is were changed, that this lineage that we're reading to Abram, I believe, stayed the Hebrew language from Noah to Abraham, because the lineage goes back to Adam. So there has to be some continuity there from Adam to Noah to Abram to Jesus. From Abraham, who's Hebrew, comes a nation, comes a people, comes, Isaac and Jacob, who names changed to Israel. You have the 12 sons, the 12 tribes, and out of one of the sons, Judah, comes Jesus. It just makes sense to me that Jesus comes from Judah, from David, and it goes all the way to Adam. When we see in Romans 5:14, then it says Adam is the type of the one to come. Isn't that interesting? And to me, it just ties it all in. That God had this plan. He was going to have a people, and for the world to come into eternal life through the people of Israel, to worship the one true God. I believe after that Babel, people started making up their own gods, their own idols.
Yeah, that Nimrod character, man. I mean, it would certainly seem to be the case that they started making stuff up. Because,
Yeah.
how long after Noah did that guy show up? It wasn't that long. I mean, within a couple of generations, right? Maybe the third
I
generation
don't know, a
after
few
Noah.
hundred years or so, right? We'd have to go back and see how they lived.
Yeah, if
Seemed
it
a
was
while.
even a few hundred years. But I mean that it was like that quick that things just started going sideways again,
Let me
It's
Google
that
that. Let me
quick.
see what it says. How many
Yeah,
how
because
many
you see,
years after Noah did Nimrod was born? Let's see.
yeah,
See what
because
it
I
comes up.
think that was his name, right? Because it says his name basically represented like somebody in opposition to God, because he was not a believer. And then he
Yeah.
had followers, which means they had to be the same way, right?
Yeah, who came just in time is our channel scholar who knows all this great stuff. The flood or the thing came
Oh,
up to 9,580 years. I don't know for sure, but hey,
how long?
LJ, good to see you.
How long? Nah.
I don't know.
So yeah, let me check that out.
Let's see. The
How long
lineage.
from the time of Noah to
Nimrod.
yeah? How
To
long
estimate that
from?
Nimrod was born. See, this is way big. 95 to 180 years after the Great Flood. I mean, that's a big gap. I mean, that's not even close. 95 years to 180 years. That's just way out there.
Yeah, so we'll just go with like 100 years, 125, right? But that is a big gap, man.
That's a big gap. LJ, go ahead. How you doing?
Hey, Freddie, I just saw you were live, so I just thought I'd jump on. I'm busy doing some other stuff preparing for tonight, but yeah, I just thought I'd come up and say hello.
Yeah, appreciate it.
As I
Yeah.
heard you. Yeah,
Here,
that question, I think it's around about the kind of the 100 years.
yeah, so that's even, you know what I mean? That's even way closer than 300. You know what I mean? Like,
I think some scholars say anywhere between like 100 and 300, but I think if you do the time, the math on it, I think it
yeah,
works
just
out about 100.
yeah, just from the Bible itself, right?
Something like that after on the Bible ages. I can't remember when you said around about the kind of 95 to 100. That kind of that rings a bell. That rings a bell. You'd have to do the. I'd have to do the ages. I honestly can't remember
Yeah.
the.
And that only makes it worse, right? Because you know what that means, right? Like Noah was alive to see this goofball. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, Noah was around then. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, what do you mean you're in opposition to God? I mean, did you not just look over here and see the ark that me and my sons built, of whom you were a direct descendant from not that long from here? And you're in opposition to God, dude.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. It is crazy.
Hmm. Well, I think it just shows you just how humanity is. That
Yeah.
it's regardless of how, look at Adam and Eve. You're in direct contact with God, and you still fall, and then you see after that flood and the wiping out of the nations and stuff, and then they still fall, and the Israelites come out of Egypt, and within the generation they've fallen. Kind of, I know they end up going in, but that generation doesn't go into the promised land. They were meant to be there in like 11 days or whatever it was that God had planned on them getting there, and it took them 40 years to get into the promised land. It's just the constant falling away, regardless of what they saw. All of those miracles that they saw, that the Israelites saw as they came out of Egypt.
Yep.
The parting of the sea, the destruction
10
of the
plagues.
Egyptians, those 10 plagues, the release of them, and within like months, really, they're already going, well, we'd rather be back in Egypt.
Hey, what happened to this Moses guy? We don't know what happened to him. Make us a golden calf. After they just heard the 10 commandments from God saying not to do that, right? He literally spoke that from the mountain to them.
It is just shows you really just how quickly mankind can kind of fall away.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long, and we hit utter debauchery very quickly after the falling away of God. And I think that the world now is actually seeing. I'm not saying that it's been brilliant for the past 2,000 years. In fact, actually, there have been times when it has been really, really bad over that. But I think in the last 50 or 60 years, the falling away from God has really escalated.
Accelerated, yeah. I would agree
with
with that.
Not just talking about the numbers, I'm not just talking about, I'm talking about in the way that
everything,
the way that things are, the governments and the way that it's not in schools anymore and taken away. And I just think that once you lose God, we ask that question a lot within Christianity. I think it's a question asked to atheists, and where'd you get your morality from? And I think that once you take God away, it shows you exactly where the morality is. There is none.
Yeah,
there's just none. If you're not doing it in God, and I'm not saying that people have done it brilliantly in God, but when you take God away, then you get this.
And that's a good direct question to begin with when you have these kinds of discussions, like with an atheist when they talk about it. That's a really very poignant question to direct to that. Where's your morality?
And what do you base it on? It is in the end, it just comes down to might is right. Really, in all fairness, it's just what it's right if the majority of people say that it's right. There are things that are just what we could say are wrong, but only really wrong in the basis that the majority say it. Like the R word. We can't say certain words on YouTube for some reason. I don't know why, but we're not allowed to say these. But within like certain cultures, like the Viking culture, perfectly acceptable. It wasn't a wrong thing to do. In fact, actually, that was the thing to do, especially to your kind of nations that you would go off and kind of pillage. It wasn't a wrong thing to do. There was no immorality in that. It would have been deemed something that would have been just normal. So what is right and what is wrong just comes down to what is either being dictated to you by your government, the people in charge of you telling you what is right and wrong, or just the might is right type thing. There is no right and wrong in a godless society. You take God away, there is no absolute right or wrong. And things change. Things change all the time. Like in this country, it used to be illegal to be homosexual. You could actually be put in prison. I don't know about in America, but in this country, I think it was up until like the 1960s in England, you could be literally put in jail for being homosexual. And I think that like hundreds of years before that, you could have been killed for it. But then it would, then it changes. And now, in fact, actually, if you're homosexual now, it's like it's the thing to do. So it just changes. It literally just what is right, what is wrong, is dependent on the society at any one given point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it doesn't take long to go there. You know what I mean?
Well, no, it certainly doesn't take long to go to any particular. I just see like the way that this, England is at the moment. I would say it's a very lawless society, and I feel very sad about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's certainly getting that way in the States, man. Depending on where you are in the areas, it is getting more and more lawless, and it's getting there quickly.
But anyway, I came to say hello. I will listen. I'm going to sit here and let you carry on talking. I interrupted the discussion.
No, you're good,
No, you didn't interrupt nothing. I just kind of started this to kind of just see how many of you guys would come, and we can just kind of have a like a sit around the campfire talk and just say what's on our mind or whatever.
And we might as well, because Freddie's going to be going out for like 4 or 5 days. So, right?
Well,
until
I'm happy
next Monday,
that Allah is not the true God, the Father of Israel. Well, that's the topic. It's a good topic, and it is very clear that Allah is not the true God, because Allah is not a father.
Exactly.
He has no name, and these are things that are very clear in the in the Old Testament. And we don't even need to go to the New Testament. We forget the New Testament. The Old Testament is very, very clear that God is described as the Father. He is the Father of Israel, and he has a name. So these are just things that, if we're going by what Scripture says, and I know that again the Muslims like to claim that the Scriptures have been misrepresented, they're corrupted, and all of this kind of stuff. But the fact is that there is no difference today to the Hebrew that was available in the 6th and 7th centuries. Right? And that is the time when Muhammad comes and it gets revelation or supposed revelation, and he is told to confirm. And we know that Fred has talked about this. I've talked about this before. That he is told to go and if he's in any doubt, to go and confirm it with the people of the book. And what they had available to them then was correct. So this Muslim, the Islamic dilemma, which talks about, that they want to claim that there is a corruption in the text. The problem is that they want to put the corruption back a lot earlier than the 6th and 7th century. They keep going on about Constantine and the Council of Nicaea and even prior to that. But the fact is that if Muhammad comes and is told to confirm, that means at the time that Muhammad comes, the scriptures are correct. So that is long after the Constantine and the 1st and 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th centuries. So now what they do, they cannot show any corruption back then. They have to show the corruption happened after Muhammad. And that they cannot do because because the manuscripts that we have confirm that the text we have today is basically 99.9% the text that they had then at that time. So it makes no sense to make an argument about for Muslims, I'm talking about, to make an argument that it was corrupted in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 6th. No, you have to make the argument and prove that it was corrupted after Muhammad came. That's when you need to show it. Don't worry about Constantine. Go and show it happening in the 7th century. Right. And that they can't do that. So that shows that the scriptures are correct. And if the scriptures are correct, then God is the Father and he has a name because the scriptures confirm that. So if Muhammad confirms the scriptures are correct, then he confirms that God is a Father and his name is or that he has a name, Yud He Vav He, or however you want to call it.
Right.
So the scriptures themselves confirm it.
Exactly. And do you know how many scriptures are there that says that Jehovah is the God of Israel? And for example, let me read this one here. This is in Jeremiah 31:1. And it says, at that time, saith Jehovah, I will be the God of all the families of Israel, and they shall be my people. So Jehovah God is the God of Israel, not of other nations. All the other nations had other gods. That's why God was upset at the people of Israel that went after other gods of other nations. And around that time in Arabia, they had their own gods, just like every nation had their own gods. And that's another good sign that in the scriptures itself, it's actually excluding the God of Israel to be any God of any other nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nito. Yeah, Allah is not a name. It just means the God. That's really all it means.
Yeah, it's a kind of similar type thing to Elohim, I suppose. It just means God. It just means, but it isn't a name. It's a title.
Right.
And that by itself, man, just the fact that you've got such a vague thing like that, right? Now, what religions has a vague title like that for God? Right? Even though God gave himself a name, people went out of their way to give God a vague title like God. Right? Started with Israel. A lot of Christians did it just by calling God the Lord. And then Islam shows up. Now, why is it that it's these three particular ones that are doing this? But when you get outside of the realm of Israel with the true God and everything about him, right? Including the lying religion of Islam. But the point is that it claims to be serving that same true God, even though it's not, right? But when you get outside of that, all of these people have gods with names. And they're not some vague thing like just the God.
Mm.
Right.
So that to me is pointing to the fact that the truth is over in this camp. Now you may have to figure out what the truth is, and of course we know what it is. But the point is, it's over here. It's not out there in the world among all those other false religions like Hinduism and all that stuff. It's not over there. It's either the religion of the Jews, Christianity, or the total pile of trash Islam, which isn't the truth. But hey, you need to figure that out for yourself, right? So, but that is quite the thing to me, man. Just the fact that God's name was taken out and given that simple title like that, calling God just God.
Yep. So yeah. Anyways, it was to talk about that, but talk about, like, I started off the stream just kind of talking about that I was kind of believing that the Hebrew language was the original one language for the most part.
Yeah, I think modern scholarship would argue against that, but I think that
What a
I
shocker.
wouldn't have any kind of argument against me personally being Hebrew being that the original language of the world.
That's how guys got stuck brewing the coffee, folks. Hebrews.
Yeah, the God of Israel. This is the thing about the scriptures. That Jehovah is the God of Israel, and all the other nations had their own idol gods. And the nations, if they wanted to be coming into Israel, then they would come to the one true God. They would see all the blessings. They would see all the miracles of the God of Israel and leave their false God and come to the true God. I think that's pretty prevalent in the scriptures. That's what I try to do, is do these simple things and try to go simple and try to show that Islam is false. Not even so much because of Muhammad, but just because of Allah, the God. They have the wrong God. They don't have the true God. Allah is just an idol from the pagan Kaaba. Let's see. What is Kaaba? Kaaba is in Mecca in Saudi Arabia. It's where they have that shrine. It's a black cube, and it's called the House of Allah. It's also in the historicity of Islam. They claim that Abraham and Ishmael came down to build this place of worship, the shrine, which of course is false. There's no historical documents to prove it. It's just a bunch of hearsay. Everything in Islam is just hearsay. It's made up. But it's a place of worship. It's where the early Arab pagans used to come and worship their god, Hubal, Baal. Around 360 gods, idols was there, and other Arab people come there, different types of Arabs that were there, different beliefs, different gods, and they would come there. And many idols, many idol gods, but they had basically one that was dominant over the others, and depending on the certain peoples that would come there, which they would name that one god. Some was called Hubble or Hubal, Hubal, and he was also known as the moon god. And Baal, Baal, was another of that one god, likely the very same god, just named differently. And then Allah as well. And Allah was the god that Muhammad worshipped and his father worshipped pre-Islamic. And in that Kaaba, that place that they would go worship, there was this cube-shaped building, and they would circumambulate around it 7 times naked. And on one corner of that cube, that Kaaba, there is a black stone. They call it the black stone, and they would kiss it. And ironically, that stone is shaped in a female genital, and the women would come there and kind of rub on it for so they could be fertile, bear children. It would just do disgusting things, and they would kiss it. And they would call upon their God there. And and you know what? They still do it. These rituals that they did pre-Islamic, they still do the same things. And oddly enough, the people that go there, mostly men, and sadly the women there are groped and molested, and it's not really a place for the women there. But they
I hear that's not really a place for guys either, because they grope guys
but they're
too,
naked.
man.
They're still naked, except that they
Yeah.
have sheets, so they're not literally exposed naked like the old the Arabs, like the pagans used to do. But nonetheless, they're still naked under the sheets they wear. So they're still doing these same pagan rituals, yet they don't see it. And they go around there. There's plenty of videos that you could see. And they go there, kiss that black stone gina. That's what I call it, the black stone gina.
Yeah, you call it that a lot. It's such a good name for it as well. Whenever you say it, I'm like, yeah, that's such an appropriate name for it. Is yeah. Everybody should call it that, I think.
Yeah, I named it that years ago on Twitter when I don't know, I just came up with it one time, and I just started calling it that.
I really think people should just be. In fact, I think I'm just going to log into Wikipedia and change it to that.
The Blackstone Gina, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it should be called from now on.
And I just spell it stone as stone is spelled, and then Gina, make one word.
Yeah. But that cube thing is such. I don't know if you follow like the cube is such a to me anyway. I find it quite fascinating. This shape. I don't know if you've ever watched Transformers. The original the film, the very first Transformers film. I don't know.
No, not the movie or the film. I know I'm familiar with. I think they had like cartoons. I think.
Yeah, they used to, but they created a film, and the very first line of the film, it says in the beginning. It's like in the beginning, because I think that there's a lot of imagery and stuff that is being put out there and within what we're being told, but it starts off in the beginning. We all know where that is in the Bible, but it goes, in the beginning was the cube. Right?
Wow,
and,
really?
Yeah, that's the very first line of the Transformers, and the power. All this power comes from the cube. Now, the reason why I bring this up, and because I say the cube is interesting, is if you because I think this also connects to the Star of David as well, because the Star of David is a hexagon, and you might see where I'm going with linking all of this. I might not be able to link it. I won't do it all because there's so much involved, but you'll see where I'm going, I suppose, with the connections of just linking things together. But the Star of David, which is just not biblical at all, is a hexagon. Now, the thing is with a hexagon is that it makes a cube. You can make a cube shape out of the Star of David, out of a hexagon. And yes, Daniel, that's exactly where I'm going. He heard the Star of David is linked to Saturn.
Right.
Well, on Saturn, there is a hexagon-shaped storm on that produces a hexagon shape, and they are connected. And I'd have to do a full detailed study into the connection of why the Star of David is not connected to the Bible, but it is connected to Saturn. But if you just said that God as well, that Hubble,
Yeah.
right? Hubble, we all know about the Hubble Space Telescope. Yeah. Well, that Hubble and Hubble is basically the same thing. But this telescope, which we utilize to go out into space, is because NASA, which is deception in Hebrew, and they have the snake, the forked tongue in the thing. This Hubble Space Telescope, and the Vatican also has their own space telescope that is called Lucifer.
That's nuts. Why would they name that thing Lucifer, man?
Well, I don't know why they call it, because it's there in plain
demonic.
sight. It's
Yeah,
demonic,
satanic.
and it's there in plain sight.
Yeah, that
And
is crazy, man.
It's hidden from us, but it's all there. The satanic connection is all there. The Star of David, which is connected to Saturn, which is
When did they
which
ever
is
start
the
that
god.
Star of David, man? When did
Sorry?
that ever start? When did that Star of David even start? Because, like you said,
like the 1900s or something, isn't it?
that's it.
Yeah, it doesn't go back. I've got
Yeah,
this written down somewhere.
Yeah, no, because that's kind of nuts then too. Because I'm thinking, well, even if that had something to do with that storm on Saturn, like who would have been able to see that? But if you're talking about the 1900s, they might have been able to see stuff on Saturn then.
But the thing is that like the
You know what I mean?
Sumerians, Babylonians, Egyptians, the Grecians, the Romans, they all worshipped the heavenly bodies, including Saturn. They worship Saturn. Saturn was one of the, because it's one of the ones you can see, is like it was one of the gods that they would worship. Let me go and look at that. The only reference to a star certainly wasn't David.
No,
It wasn't
the New
linked to the
Testament,
Star
right?
of David. It's called that to cover it, but the only star which is mentioned in the Bible is the Star of Ramphran, which was a god, a Canaanite god. I believe is Canaanite god.
Yeah.
I want to say the Canaanite god, but it was a god in the Old Testament anyway.
It's all satanic.
All of it is all connected to one another.
Yeah. Did you see? Have you? I'm going to bring this up. The Vatican, the throne room of the Pope.
Yeah, it's like a snake.
Yeah. Check this out.
Yeah.
Is that really the way it looks?
Yeah. Right here.
Yeah.
See, let's see on the right. You can kind of see, but I don't know if I can get it any bigger.
Those eyes in the hall there, the one at the bottom there.
Yeah.
That's
Snake.
just is pure snake. But that in the throne room with all of that demonic stuff
It's all
going on.
yeah. This is the Vatican. This is the throne room of the Pope. You see him sitting in the middle on the right in
That's
white,
crazy,
and you
man.
have the other cardinals or whatever at the right in black, and you have that demonic figures, all that stuff in the back.
It's vile. It's vile.
And what excuse do
and
they give for that garbage?
They think it's all godly stuff.
they do, and the people don't see it. They don't. You know, with Lucifer, why would anybody be worshiping a religion that's called a telescope? Bloody Lucifer.
I know, and then they got a serpent in there, God's enemy, and you're sitting in. Oh man, the words, man, like none of it's good. Like, look, all that stuff, because I used to say, and I had no problem saying that literally the Catholic Church is the seat of Satan, but I did not know this. And now apparently it's very true.
I'll do a full study on this on the Star of David at some point, because you know the Star of David is even on the Pope's hat as well.
And that's crazy because they're a bunch of Jew haters, aren't they?
Yeah. And that mitre goes back to Dagon, the fish god. I think I get them mixed up because I haven't looked at this for a long time, but I'm sure it's Dagon, the fish. I think that's his name, the fish god. It's the mitre of the fish god used to wear.
It's insane, man.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the time when they introduced the Star of David. I'm sure it comes in like with the inception of Israel.
Oh, back in the 40s.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Like when
I
they
think
gave
that's
back
when I'm sure that's when it kind of comes in.
Yes, that would have been around 1948.
Yeah, 47, 48. Yeah.
Wow.
That's what my recollection is from hearing. Not that I know, but from just hearing, maybe, you know.
That is insane.
I mean, because we know it has nothing to do with scripture, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think that there's like a hexagram shaped star that goes back to kind of around about the 2nd and 3rd century in a synagogue they found, but that shape was found alongside a pentagram and a swastika on the same. Now, I'm not talking about the swastika of the Nazis, the same thing, but obviously in the 2nd and 3rd century AD, that it wasn't related to the Nazis then, but it was still related in as far as I'm aware, as in a negative shape, and so was the pentagram. Is like they're negative witchcraft type symbols, and the Star of David was found alongside it. So I don't think it's anything. Not that it wasn't called the Star of David. I'm just calling it the shape, so you know what the shape is. It wasn't called the Star of David then, but it just shows that it's just not a good thing. Yeah. So it was. The star was accepted by the Zionist movement in 1897 as the emblem, and in 1948, the star was chosen to be incorporated into the flag of the new state of Israel.
Yeah, that's around that time was the Balfour Declaration was kind of being started so they could form Israel at the end of the First World War, which didn't occur, but they ultimately did it Second World War. Yeah, it was the late 1800s when the Rothschild began to implement this getting the people of Israel, the Jews or whatever, back into that land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wonder how much they leaned on God for that. You would think if anybody would be able to do it without that much of a problem, it would be God, right?
Yeah, but I don't believe God had anything to do with it.
No, I know he didn't. I
Yeah.
know he didn't. But I'm saying, look, that's what I tell people about the land of Israel is the fact that in the Bible, if since the Jews belong to that land in that regard, in their minds, right, and in Scripture, that's what it is. So if those people want to fight for that land because they think it's really theirs, I don't, I can appreciate that point. But we know full well that God isn't with them because he's with Christ. But they don't believe that. So what else are they going to believe? You know
Right.
what I mean?
Well, here's my view on Israel today and the people. I'm not against the people. I don't care whether they're legitimately Jews or not. I don't. That stuff doesn't bother me. But I will support the people of Israel based on they were given that land by booty, by the winning the war. And whether it was contrived by nefarious reasons to begin with the Balfour Declaration, all that, you can't blame the people. You have to go to the higher ups, the people with power. But the people there, they're just people. They're just
Well,
people that want to live, and then you have to look at the other people who claims to be a religion of peace that want to destroy them because their book says so.
mm,
So really, ultimately, who is at fault here, or who's the one to blame? Just people, whether they're Jews or not, that are just trying to live, and whether we agree with their belief is beside the point. There's a certain sect of people that want to destroy them because their book says not only to destroy them, but also Christians and others. It's war booty goes to the victor, and that's just how it is. You know, so those people there in Israel that are called Jews are not occupiers. They're there because of the Allies won the war, and they did what they did with the with war booty, and that's how it goes.
yeah, look, like you just said, people calling them occupiers. I'm like, I'm sorry. Do you want to read the Bible? Because again, I will land on that. If ever there was a people to not be calling occupiers, it's them. Just from that point of view. I mean, I understand the point that you're making, but it really, if you want to play that game, no, it's the people that you think belong in the land now that are the quote unquote occupiers for centuries. You know what I mean? Because they're the ones that went and took it from other people. So, no, there's that. And if that doesn't matter to you, then why? Why does the issue of Israel matter to you as if they are occupiers? Though they have a whole book with a very long history to say, nah, they're not the occupiers. They're the actual inhabitants of the land with the blessing of the true God, I might add, from the Old Testament anyway. And if you don't believe that, which a lot of people do, but hey, the Muslims put a mosque over a very specific place that is in the Old Testament. You know, we called it the Holy of Holies, but wonder how
Yeah,
that
but it's
just
not
managed to
holy
end up there. Yeah.
anymore.
No, not anymore. But the point is, the Jews have a very long history with that land. A very long history, and
Right,
it's
and
in
of
the
course,
Bible.
people think it still belongs to them when in actuality it doesn't. They lost it. They've been dispersed
Yeah,
on 70.
yeah, I know. Well, I mean, look, man, if God was involved with putting that land back into the hands of the Israelites, it would be a lot of very unhappy people because you're not stopping God from doing what God wants to do. And that place that is over the Holy of Holies right now would not be there. You know what I mean? If God was with them, that place would not be there. I find that stuff, I'm less offended by it now, but I know for quite a while, man, I was offended about that place being there. Then I think to myself, but then maybe God's allowing for that trash place to be over that site just to keep the Jews from doing something stupid, like trying to build another temple. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
but
kind of where I'm
I
standing
don't
on
think,
that one right
yeah,
now.
I don't think God has anything to do with it, one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I could be. I mean, I think he is keeping them from building that place, man, because you know they would, right? You know they'd try to build that temple, dude. You know they would.
well, that's yeah, it has some Islamic control because of the mosque,
Yeah,
but
well, yeah, right over the Holy of Holies too, right? The
well,
very
yeah, but
Holy of
yeah,
Holies, man. And that's an important thing. Like, and the only way that the Jews would get that place back is if they went and started a war.
right. But think about it. If it was of God, then they would have already had a temple built there, right? They
You
would
mean
have
the Jew? Yeah,
rebuilt,
yeah. That's
but
what I'm
it's
saying.
not. And like I even said, even if they rebuild one sometime in the future, it's irrelevant. It's not even going to be holy.
Yeah, man. No, I don't think God's
It's
going to allow
just
that to
it
happen
doesn't
either,
matter.
buddy. Yeah.
That's something to understand with this prophecy in the scripture when it talked about the desolation of abomination and standing in the holy place and all of this going down. Well, as I say and believe, it already occurred. It occurred in that first century, in 64 to 70, leading up to the destruction of Jerusalem, when that place was holy, when God was dwelling there at one time. But now God doesn't dwell in temples made by hands, in Jesus, in us, in believers. So any physical building being built is irrelevant. It cannot fulfill prophecy because it's over. Uh, it, it's over. It's done. Trying to build a temple and say, "Oh, this is prophetic," you have to have all the cards in play. Everything would have to fall in play chronologically and in the right time, just like it did and fulfilled in that first century. And to me, the biggest thing is that it's not holy. So nobody can desecrate it. Who's going to go in there and desecrate it because it's not holy? God doesn't dwell there. The understanding that God was dwelling there spiritually made it holy, but He doesn't dwell there. It's not going to dwell there, so it can never be holy. So therefore, it can never be desecrated.
Amen. Yeah, you know what? You know what's a curious thought to me about the Old Testament? Because you obviously the Ark was there before they went into Babylon in that captivity, right?
Yeah,
I don't, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think they had the Ark of the Covenant in there again. Like when they came back to Israel.
yeah, I believe you're right. I don't believe they did.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is like when you read Daniel, or not Daniel, but Jeremiah chapter 3. I think that was kind of saying before that there would be a time when that ark wasn't there, but I don't know if it was necessarily pointing to that time or to a later time. But it was written in there somewhere, and I have to look at it again because it's been a while. But it seemed to be saying there would be a time you wouldn't be looking for the ark at all, like in the way of worship that it had been used for in the past. But the point is that was written by Jeremiah before Babylon. You know what I mean? So he was kind of already prophesying that wouldn't be the case anymore. The ark.
Yeah, you know what? I tend to believe in a way. See, you had that movie that Raiders of the Lost Ark because they're
Mhm.
based on trying to locate that ark, which is they've been trying to find it. I don't believe it's on Earth. I believe in a
I
way
think it got melted down, man.
I
They probably
believe
just
it's
melted it down.
I believe it's
Good.
in the it's in heaven, not maybe necessarily literally, but
Mhm.
spiritually, because in Revelation 11:19 it mentions that Let me go. Let me see.
Well, yeah, but if you're not talking about the actual physical golden ark that was in there, right? Like, you think that was
Right,
taken
right.
from
I
the earth?
think in Revelation it says I'll start at 17. Let's see, 15. It says, "Then the seventh angel blew his trumpet, and there were loud voices in heaven saying, 'The kingdom of the world has become the kingdom of our Lord and of his Christ, and he shall reign forever and ever.' And the 24 elders who sit on their thrones before God fell on their faces and worshiped God, saying, 'We give thanks to thee, Lord God Almighty, who art and who was, and that thou hast taken thy great power and begun to reign. The nations raged, but thy wrath came, and the time for the dead to be judged, for rewarding thy servants, the prophets and saints, and those who fear thy name, both small and great, and for destroying the destroyers of the earth.' Then God's temple in heaven was opened, and the ark of his covenant was seen within his temple. And there were flashes of lightning, voices, peals of thunder, an earthquake, and a heavy hail." So oddly, that ark of covenant is mentioned here as it was mentioned in the Old Testament days. Now, is it the same? I don't necessarily think it is per
Yeah.
se, but in a foreshadow or a typology or just a similar sense.
Well, yeah, because they when Moses made that stuff, he said it was patterned after the things in heaven, right?
Right. It was, yeah,
Yeah.
and it was. Can you believe that's the thing about if this was found, how this could probably be the most you know true highest item ever worth anything because of the gold and how it was built. It was built too. It was in one piece. The way that it was constructed, the
Yeah, that's
way it
something,
was
man.
designed and constructed and built, one piece. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yep, that is something. And it was pretty big, I think, because of the wings of the angels that would have spread out, man. Right?
Right.
So
It
it's
gave
not
its
like
dimensions. Yeah.
yeah, and it's not like you're just storing that away in a drawer in a drawer, you know. You would need a considerably large spot to be holding that.
Yeah, so I
So
think I think it's kind of a parallel, symbolic, kind of
mhm.
possibly, God took it in a way, make it appear or something. I don't know for sure how I
Yeah.
can say it, but
No, I don't like I was saying, man, I think that thing just when the Babylonians took it, they probably melted it down or just ripped
who
it up
knows?
and
Yeah, there's
used it
nothing
for
said
gold.
about it, but
No.
I think what this is like it's just it's a similar thing. It's like the Ark of that covenant, and this is the Ark of the Covenant for this new covenant. So I'm
Mhm.
not saying it's literally exactly that. I'm just saying it's
Yeah, it
kind
was
of seems
something
like
patterned
this is
after that. Yeah.
what?
It's like again, the pattern of the thing on the earth was a pattern of something that was in heaven, you know? You didn't
Right.
necessarily need that
Yeah,
ark
right,
that was
yeah,
on the earth up there, but it would have been similar to that, representative of whatever is actually up there in the heavens.
right.
So,
Yeah, I think whether it's was taken out of earth and put here in heaven in this temple throne room that John's seeing in this vision. I think it was based definitely hidden. It was never to be found. I don't think God wanted anyone to find it.
yeah, amen. And then the question is why though, right? Like that was part of the I wonder why he didn't have that put back there. Or even if they would have maybe because it would have been a rebuilding a sec I don't know.
But can you imagine how
Mm,
maybe more people
mm,
may tend to believe, like if they did find this Ark of the Covenant there, and if they did find Noah's Ark, and I mean they have uncovered
yeah,
through archaeology other things, supposedly the fire and brimstone in the areas of Sodom and Gomorrah to
Mhm.
to prove that, hey, you know, this type of stuff did come, that it didn't originate here on Earth. It came from somewhere.
Yeah, who knows, man? Who knows? It did. Are there any actual accounts of people claiming to have found the? Oh, man. Yeah. I guess those Ethiopian people claimed to have the ark, right? Now that I'm thinking
Well,
about
I
it.
think LJ touched on it, which was great insight. Supposedly, you know, in Mount
Oh
Ararat
no, you're talking
in
about the
Turkey.
ark, right? Yeah,
What
you're
ark?
talking about the ark.
The
No, I'm
Ark of
talking
the
about the
Covenant.
gold. I'm talking about, yeah, the Ark of the Covenant. I think the Ethiopians are claiming to have that, which I do not believe at all.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
Nah. Plus, they would have to be, well, yeah, because they say somebody, like I saw some show where they're saying somebody sits in that room or whatever with that ark for however long. And I'm thinking, there's no way you're doing that. There's no, not according to what God said. You know, what I mean? There's no way you're doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah, stuff people say, man.
right. So LJ's probably getting ready to start his show here pretty soon, right? Your Bible study.
Mm,
Yeah,
two
not long.
hours.
Couple of hours. So yeah, I'm just putting some stuff
Yeah,
together.
probably like
Just make
2 hours.
sure
Yeah, about 2 hours.
we've got everything kind of ready to go on.
Yeah, I thought I'd do this for a little while. Just I had some time, kill a little time, because I don't know if I was, depending on how late you go, depending if I'm going to go after or not. But
I don't think I'm gonna go too long tonight. I gotta be honest.
because
There's
I won't be live here for a few days till probably
yeah,
Monday.
yeah. If I kind of aim for an hour and a half maximum, really, but an hour to an hour and a half, I think that I should be able to get everything done in that kind of time. Then obviously you can fire away with going live afterwards. So,
You gonna remember to send that link over to Baz for the
yeah,
live?
I'll remember
Okay.
to do. Well, yeah, I'll try to. I will remember. I will remember. Yeah, I know that. I know that I forget a lot of stuff, but lots going on. But yeah, I will make sure
Well,
because
yeah. If you set it up, if you set up the live stream already, you could just send them the link. You know what I mean? Or
yeah, I'll
the
do that.
pre-scheduled thing.
I'll do that. It's it has been set. I got set it up on
Rumble.
Rumble, but it's
Okay.
it's done on YouTube. So I uploaded that earlier on, so that should be there. Yeah,
Good stuff.
just basically doing the did Jesus and the apostles, did the New Testament quote the old the Greek or the Hebrew basically. So.
Are you gonna touch on that passage that they bring up from John 12 at all?
Which one?
The one that they use where they say that it's pointing to Isaiah 6 in there.
Oh yeah. What about the seeing the glory?
Yeah, whichever it is. I only heard him say it a couple of times, but I know it's around like John 12, 38
Yeah,
or
I haven't
41. It's right
actually.
in that area.
I haven't got that one in, and yes, that is used as kind of evidence that they were using the Septuagint.
Okay.
I know that actually um in one of his debates, I think it was with Dale, that James White used that. I think it was in, and he argued that they were using the Septuagint. I'm sure that was in the debate with Dale.
Yeah,
Tuggy.
I know some of the 3 years use that for their typical,
Yeah, they do. They do.
little show that they put on trying to trick people up, man.
Mm. Yeah, I'm going to specific. Yeah, I won't delve into it now because it's
Because you got a show to do about it.
show.
Yeah. So if everybody doesn't know here on this particular channel about LJ, he's got a channel on YouTube called Follow and Truth LJ. If you want to look up his channel, go over there. All right. Definitely subscribe, click the notification bell, and all that good stuff. It's
Yeah,
worth
let me,
the time because he does a lot of deep, informative stuff. So it's worth watching.
okay. Let me locate it. Here we go. And I'll post the link in the chat.
Man, that serpent with that Catholic.
So
Oh,
there's
man,
the link
that's
for people. It's all only going to be beneficial for those that might be seeing this, live at this time, and it's going to be coming up in a couple hours.
Mhm.
If someone watches this between now and a couple hours, there's the link.
Yep.
Come on over.
Either way, even in the future, if you happen to see, you could at
Right.
least go over to the channel and subscribe, for later stuff. So
Future, yeah, there you are.
Yep.
Click on it, subscribe.
I think I will. Thank you, Freddie.
Yeah, that serpent Clate is just ridiculous. It's
It is,
and
man.
how any the Catholics. I don't know.
Does that guy use that room? Does he use that chair like in public events and stuff?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Wow, man.
It's
That's
all
nuts.
over it's all over that church. The whole thing. You can just see it. It's
Yep.
It's just,
Satan's house for sure, man. So I'm
yeah,
telling you, like you
it's
learn
all
that stuff.
over.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, like I tell people that I don't mind saying to the Roman Catholic Church that it's a seat of Satan, dude. But then you go and learn stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Well, the biggest thing for me
Just about
with all of
every
that,
aspect of it.
the biggest thing I find
Sorry, go ahead.
with it is the Catholic who actively argues that these are not satanic things, because it's just blatantly clear that to anybody that can actually open their
Yeah,
eyes.
anyone outside, right? Yeah. And then
But
you're
you
told.
have to be some kind of indoctrinated in order to be able to not see it, I suppose.
Yep.
What about
Yep,
the
they
scripture
kiss.
that plainly says, do not make any idols, any statue, anything that's on earth or in heaven above or anything. And that's all this
Yeah.
stuff is.
What they then go to, all I ever hear then is the nonsense statement. Well, God made idols or images, and He put them in with the cherubim. He made them. Yeah, well, God did.
Oh, well,
That.
yeah. Look, doofus. There's a difference between God doing something and you doing something.
Yeah, but they're the vicar. But he's the vicar of Christ. He's he's
Yeah, no,
Christ
he's not.
incarnated on the earth, isn't it? So it's kind of
Yeah, and that's
Like,
another
more
another
Satan talk.
contradiction.
More Satan talk. Take your
They have
Satan
the
religion
power.
away from me, people. Take it
And
far
another
away.
deception.
It's allowed because it's they have the authority from God to do so.
I think
No, they
it's
don't.
the religion is the deception. It becomes of man, not of God.
Yeah, you got to move toward your mic there, Daniel.
How about now?
No.
Really?
Yep. You still sound kind of distant.
Any better?
Yeah,
That's
way
better.
better there.
That's weird.
Well, LJ ran away from us. Took
He doesn't
off.
like me speaking.
Didn't even say bye.
Maybe he fell out, man. It's in the UK. I heard there's some riots going on over there in the UK right now, man.
Really?
Yep.
Does it have to do with the religion of peace?
No, surprisingly, not that particular one this time, man.
Well, yeah, it is actually.
No, it had to do with some Sikh kid. Well, young man. He wasn't a kid, but
Sikh kid. Yeah, it was some kind of Muslim that killed the guy, right?
no,
You're
he was a Sikh. He
You're
was a
talking
Sikh
about
religion.
Henry.
What's a Sikh?
The religion that the Sikhs, it's mainly an Indian religion, I believe.
Yeah, Indian Sikh. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about Henry.
Yeah, the white kid that got killed over that whole story's nuts, man. I just heard it last night for the first time. Dude, they had video. They had video, Freddie, of the cop. The dude's laying on the floor after he got stabbed by that Sikh, right? A few times. And he's saying he told the cop, I was stabbed. He's saying, I can't breathe. And the cop says, yeah, I don't think you have been, mate. Like, the dude told me he was stabbed, and the cop said, no, I don't think you've been stabbed.
No, it was.
Thankfully,
it's,
Thankfully, there
it's-
was another cop there, a female cop, dude. Like, so, but it doesn't matter because the kid ended up dying anyway, man. Like, the 18,
Oh no,
19-year-old
he
kid.
He bled out there. That was the last thing he heard.
Yeah.
He literally died. After that.
Yeah, you know, the way you would think
Most
somebody
vile-
would sound when they're saying they can't breathe, that's what he sounded like. He
Yeah.
sounded like he couldn't breathe. You know?
It was disgusting. It's it's caused a lot of issues in
Yep.
here. We've kind of
And that-
started a bit of rioting and stuff, which I don't agree with, because I don't agree with smashing up and destroying innocent people's properties in order to kind of make your point in arguing. I understand it. I understand the anger that has gone on against the police for what has happened, because I think
Yeah,
it
and
was-
they blatantly lied, apparently. They blatantly lied to the
Yeah,
public, man.
it was utterly disgusting, the whole thing.
Yep.
I don't agree with the violence that is erupted on it, but I understand the anger that is how that poor, because he was only like 19 years old.
Yeah.
How he is led on the ground, literally dying from being stabbed multiple times.
Yeah, cop didn't even ask him, where were you stabbed? He just said,
No.
I don't think you have been,
I
mate.
just said,
You know what I mean?
don't think you
He
have.
didn't even check the guy. Yeah, it
But
was
when
sick,
the
man.
thing is that they put him in. The thing is
Handcuffs.
what I find the hardest to understand out of it is that they could see that. Right, they didn't believe that he'd been stabbed. They didn't believe.
Well, at
But
least the male
he-
cop did.
he
The
very-
male-
very clearly wasn't able to stand or communicate properly.
No, but
There was
there's no blood. They couldn't see blood.
I don't. It was
I
dark.
think he was bleeding internally.
It
But
was
that's the whole
internal
point. It's like, yeah,
bleeding.
where were you stabbed? What would have been so hard for that cop to say, where were you stabbed? Show me where you were
Yeah.
stabbed. He didn't
But,
say, he just said, I don't think you were.
Yeah. But
That's stupid.
the
Yeah.
guy couldn't stand. They couldn't. They knew that he couldn't stand because he was falling all over the place, and they were saying, "Oh, he can't stand. He's hurt," because they thought that he'd hurt himself by jumping over the fence. So they thought he was either drunk or just incapacitated. But the saddest thing is that it's very clear that he wasn't running away, and yet they still put him in handcuffs.
Yep.
Right, even if he hadn't been stabbed, there was no running away. There was no necessity for him to be handcuffed at that point, because they were still doing investigations and trying to figure out what was going on. But they were already arresting him based on what they were told,
Which was lies.
which was lies that he'd racially abused this Sikh. But but why have they arrested him and put him in handcuffs without even hearing his side of the story? they couldn't ascertain his side of the story because he'd been stabbed and he couldn't talk. So why are they putting him in handcuffs if the guy is physically, can't stand? Now, he's told you he's been stabbed. You can clearly see that he cannot stand and that he is flopping all over the place. And the Sikh guy is literally wearing a knife. Right.
Well, they said his mom took the knife but ran off with the knife.
No.
The cops got there.
The footage shows that when they took when the police turn up, the guy is still wearing the knife.
Well, maybe it was his brother.
Well, somebody's wearing a knife.
Yeah, his brother showed up after he stabbed him.
Right.
It was his brother that called the cops.
Somebody's wearing a
and
knife.
told the lie. Yeah,
But
it could have been the other
see
brother.
a knife. The guy is saying that he's been stabbed. He's literally flopping all over on the ground, and they're not investigating whether the guy has been stabbed or not.
Yeah,
You know what's
it's
disgusting
ridiculous,
is like they try to legitimize a person being stabbed or killed because of a supposed racial slur. So what? So what? I'm not for a racial slur. I'm against it.
Yeah, that's no
But-
reason to stab
But even
somebody.
if someone said a racial slur, is that really worthy of being murdered over?
No.
What's worse, being called a derogatory name or being murdered?
Yeah. And I do want to make it very clear, like this was a Sikh that stabbed him.
Yeah.
I've never had any kind of altercations with Sikhs. Never heard really the Sikh world in being violent. I've never heard of, like in England, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but I don't really hear about in the same kind of way as what you would certainly hear about Muslims and Islam and stuff. We don't really get that type of, I certainly have never got that kind of impression from Sikhs. So I want to make it clear that I'm certainly not saying this is an issue with Sikhs, the religion of Sikhism. I think that this was just one crazy dude of that particular religion, and I certainly don't think we should be going attacking Sikhs because of one crazy dude, because we get one crazy Christian every now and again, or another religion. This is just one mentally ill, psychopathic person who's willing to stab another person.
Look,
It just happens to be Sikh. It's not. It wasn't. I don't believe that it was a racially motivated, or not religion. He might have tried to kill him because he was white or whatever. But it was this individual that had the issue, not Sikhism as a whole.
well, yeah, and didn't they say didn't that start over because he stole his phone or whatever?
This is the story. The story is that he abused him. He knocked off his turban off his head.
That's what they're saying.
That's
right?
what they're
That's
saying.
what
That's what they said. We don't know the story because the only real evidence would be
Yeah,
from,
the two of them, and
coming
the one
from the
guy's
guy
dead.
that is dead. So
Yeah.
or the two guys, which are clearly going to be whatever story they wanted to make up, but yeah, we don't know the story. All we do know is that the guy was stabbed 5 or 6 times. I'm not even. It's not about that. Murders happen, and it's disgusting, and the guy is being put in prison. I'm more focused on what the police did afterwards.
Yeah, because that was an atrocity.
Rather
all
than
in
trying
its
to
own.
address this guy that is dying in front of them, they put him in handcuffs on the pretense that all they said was that he racially abused them, and that was it. That was enough to mean that this guy was put in handcuffs, read his rights without even being questioned or anything, and they just did not attend to the guy at all. It was disgusting to watch. It's absolutely vile.
Yeah,
And I hope those police officers spend time in jail for it.
Well, I think it was really only that male cop that was he really
Well,
screwed. Like I said, there was a female cop there that
yeah,
seemed to
she
be
didn't really do a lot either, to be honest. None of
no,
them
but
did.
she was pressing the guy to at least check him, and then they said she was the one that actually called for the medical. You
I
know,
think so. But the
yeah,
the male cop needs to certainly
yeah,
the
he
male
definitely
cop
needs to pay a price, man.
needs to serve
And
time in jail.
his leaders that tried to cover that up, like they didn't have that footage, man. They came out, you know what I mean? They need to pay for that, dude.
Yeah,
To come out
100%.
lying.
I hope they do because it was such a
Yeah, and
just
now
a
the
vile attack.
question is, do you think that was the first case where stuff like that actually happened, or was it? Are we really, really the odds of that being the first time where you had it all on camera and the cop decides to lie and put the guy in handcuffs and all this stuff goes on and they come out and lie about it? This is the first case and it all happened.
No,
I'm going.
no,
No, this probably
we've
happened
seen it.
multiple times
We've
already.
had it.
Now, yeah,
We've had
yeah.
it before where we've had cover-ups. So we know that it happens, and people still kind of ignore it and as if it's kind of the first time and it's the only time and the last time
Yeah,
that it will
and
happen.
and
It's
this is
not.
where
We know it's
this
not.
is where this is where we'll start pointing at the Muslims and all the rape gangs and crap like that they have over there. You know what I mean?
Mm.
A lot of blind eyes getting turned to a lot of criminal conduct going on by other people that are. It's the world for you, man. I'm like, God's watching it all, and no one gets away with it. It's just, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that it's allowed to even go on, man. But it's how things are right now, unfortunately, man. I remember because there was a thing. There was a guy over, I think it was up in Detroit where things are getting run by the Muslims there. And the thing that I can't remember exactly what the words were that Muslim mayor said to the guy living there at one of the meetings, but
All
he basically
Christians.
the Muslim more or less said it would be great if you were dead, which is basically like ultimately the thing he was saying to that guy. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that mayor also said all Christians can leave. They don't like it.
It is nuts. Frank, do you have cats over there, Daniel?
Do I have what?
Cats.
No. No cat. I got all kinds of animals, no cats.
Well, I know, but I thought I just heard a cat meowing. So maybe it was Freddy.
Who's meowing?
Yeah.
No, I
I
think
have
that's
cats
part
over
of.
here, but they're quiet.
I need cats. I got mice. They come in out of the fields before winter, and man,
Should find yourself a couple strays, man. Bring them
They
home.
lost one too.
Yeah, your cat.
Yeah, one that was dear to us.
Yeah, I recall you mentioning that, man.
Yeah.
How old was that one again?
Around 15 years. 16, 15, yeah, 15, 16 years.
it's a long time to be part of the family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was a great cat too.
I had a dog around this farm the entire time I lived here, and he just died until last year. But that was a big loss, really. He's been my best buddy.
How old was he?
Well, he was adopted, so I think he was between 10 and 12, we estimated. But,
Thinking about getting
Yes.
another dog or not?
well, we got 3 since then. But
Only two have made it.
my dog used to sit on the back side of the house here and look over the valley and watch the neighbors' Belgian horses. That was his life. He had to watch over those horses.
Well, he enjoyed it, huh?
Yeah. He was a pup. He ran over there barking at him. One of them kicked him and shattered his hip. So he had a metal rod.
Was he all right after that? I mean, after surgery and all that, did he do okay?
Yeah. Well, they used to pay, like pay the money to get the surgery done and you had to put down. Everybody said I was nuts to pay that much money to save it. You become my best friend. So, what's the word? Their neighbors' horses, they're Belgians. And even, they're so big, even the Amish don't like them. You can't saddle them or can't bridle them and everything. So he takes them down to Indiana and sells them. Turns out my neighbor guy there is like the most famous horse Belgian guy in the country. But they are huge.
It's a little bit hard to hear you, man. Sorry.
That's weird. I think must be my microphone's on the computer, not my headset. Am I quiet now?
Only
Yeah,
because
you're
you're probably
still
talking from a distance. Unless you have a mic on you.
I do, but evidently it's not working. That's why you guys could hear the crows, or I mean the, yeah.
The rooster. Now we hear
maybe
you.
you got-
Now you hear me better?
Yeah, now
Oh,
you
yeah.
hear it
It's-
louder. Yeah, louder and clear. Yeah.
So the microphone's not on my headset.
Oh, you got the wrong one chosen, huh?
Can't select it. Only again and again for audio. But no.
I wonder if there's a way to. I wonder if there's a way for you to make that the default, whichever one you're choosing there.
I hear something now.
Yeah, you'll get that all straightened out, and then Freddie will be like, "All right, we're ending the live stream."
Which is probably going to be happening soon anyway.
Oh, that's fine. I've been needing to do this, trying to figure all this out. Like I said, I'm digitarded.
That's funny. Well, what are you trying to do? Just switch it to the other mic?
Yeah. Yeah, and I do that, but it gives me so many different options.
Well, how many different things do you have hooked up to your computer?
Just the headset. I had the YouTube I was on my phone that I was talking or chatting with when
Yeah.
I had to get the female sheep out. The moms they're ate down their pasture, so I had to let them out.
Well, you sound loud right now. I don't know if you sat down by a mic or if it's. Do you click on that microphone or the speaker looking thing on your computer in the Windows?
Well,
You-
I turned it on by that, but then I have to select the mic here in what do you call this? StreamYard.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna walk away. Just let me know if you can still hear me the same or is it quieter?
Yeah, if you're walking
Yeah,
away right
sounds
now.
about the
it's fine.
same. Might be working now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
There you go.
there still sounds good.
I'm so digitally challenged, it's not funny.
Yeah,
Well,
that sounds like we're sitting right there in front of it. So I think whatever you did worked.
All right. But,
Yeah, maybe next time you just have to check it in StreamYard. Or did it already tell you that you had to choose it on the Windows and then go?
no, and I looked for help and how tos and stuff. I didn't see any.
Well, I'm just saying next time you go in there and maybe if you're on StreamYard, just check the StreamYard thing first, so before you go mess with the Windows side.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the issue, is just the StreamYard selection.
I think it might be coming down to vision because I think I'm selecting the same thing every time, but maybe not. I basically need the Hubble space scope to read my laptop.
From how far away? Not too far, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you can increase the size of the text on there too if you're not aware of that. You can increase the
Yeah, but we use the laptop for all my. We deal with this corporation that I've been hired through, and my wife spends more time on the computer than I do actually doing the work. And if I change the font size, she goes ballistic on me.
well, you know what? Then I would tell you can set up another profile on your computer, like one that she can use, and then you could go in there, and everything would be for your settings in your own profile. You can have your own account there.
I'll see, that would be great. Maybe I can have my daughter-in-law come over and do that.
Yeah, it's not really hard to do, but that whole thing, if you're not used to doing it, then it's going to be a little bit of a hassle, but it's not hard to do.
Awesome.
Yeah, you sound good. So that works. So when you walked away, now we can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I should have figured that was happening when you said you could hear the roosters, but not me. And I'm like, how is that possible? I was putting things physically over my microphone, trying to see if I could go outside because I didn't want to overbearing you guys with when I went out.
With the microwave or the microphone you had on your. Okay, yeah.
I literally took a piece of rag, stuck it in a cap of a marker, and put it over my microphone. And you guys said you could still hear me like nothing. And I'm like, oh, jeez.
That's funny.
Be right back.
All right.
BRB.
That's the saying that's been around for who knows how long now.
Yeah, no, all that Catholic stuff that, like those pictures that he had up there, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah,
Almost
I believe
everything
it.
you look into has some sort of meaning behind it. It's appalling.
Yeah, that is nuts, man. I mean, you try not to think that. You figure sometimes things are just something, people turn them into things that they're not. But for the Catholic Church to have stuff like that, you know what I mean? Plus, I remember I was watching a show once when they're talking about like some old Roman Catholic church that they were building. Something that they were putting down seemed to be linked to like false gods. I'm like, why would you put that in your church? But that's what they did. You know what I mean? It was like,
Yeah.
that is nuts.
Well, it comes right down to the point on top of a church is that phallic symbol out of Egypt. In fact,
that's great.
The center of what's the thing in Rome? The Vatican. They took down a Egypt phallic symbol monument and put it up in the center. I'm like, what
That's
makes
ridiculous.
them think they can do that?
Yeah.
Everybody walks through this hallway and they kiss a statue's foot, claiming to be a Peter or Paul or Peter, I think, Saint Peter. And it's a rehashed statue of a different Greek god. And they just said, nah, it's Peter now. And everybody walks through and kisses its feet. I'm like, how insane is that?
It's Roman Catholic insane. That's what. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's the more you learn about that stuff, the more you learn. It's none of it's ever good, dude.
I know.
And like people say, that just the Catholics that go to those places and see that, and they just brush it off like it's no issue. Oh no, man, it's no big deal. It's not really what it looks like it is. I mean, we know you all see Satan all over. We know it's got crazy names pointing to Satan, but no, that's not what it is. It's just one coincidence after another, But if they looked outside at somebody else with all that stuff, they'd be losing their mind seeing Satan all over all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like I said, I wasn't religious, my upbringing and everything. But my cousin died in a car accident, which they were thinking it might have been suicide, but either way.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that's not the case, but if it
And
was, that's
we went
sad.
we went to his funeral, and his dad had a big old Catholic funeral for him.
Mhm.
And I got in that church, and I was watching this monk guy swinging this smoky thing, walking up and down the aisles. And I, for the life of me, at that point, I thought, there's something demonic here. And I didn't know a thing about anything at that time, you know?
Yeah.
And then they're up there saying a prayer in Latin. And the only word I could make out of what that guy said was the words hocus pocus.
Wow.
I'm like, hocus pocus?
I'm like, yeah, I'm out of here, man. I'm out of here.
Really? Did they really say that word, that phrase?
Yes, it's in the blessing of the bread. Where they change the blood into wine or whatever. If you listen to it in Latin, you can pick out the words hocus pocus.
Yeah, it's a cult, no doubt about it. Sad that so many are stuck in that, believing it's of God.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess a lot of people probably just go there to go, man. Who knows how many. Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to question everyone, because if even if you're saying, well, they're nice and they're just wanting to go to maybe even to do the right thing, to try to do whatever, but you'd have to say, are you serious though? Do you understand what you're believing in, what you're doing? Do you know what you're doing? Do you know anything about it? Do you know the scriptures? I know firsthand Catholics don't even read the scripture. They don't read the Bible.
I was listening to some rabbis, and they don't stick to the Bible as true. They actually have a polytheism outtake on scriptures, and I was astounded. I'm like, what? At least whatever rabbi I was watching said that Yahweh and El were two competing gods, and they merged into one.
Uh-huh. But did somebody, did
Yeah.
that guy let his God know that that was his belief? Is his belief?
I don't know. I was astounded though, and I thought the guy's wearing a beanie, right? So I figure I don't know the divisions of being Judah, but he's got a beanie on. So I'm thinking, okay, he's gonna talk, Old Testament, whatever. And
No.
I just could not believe the words coming out of his mouth. And he was doing ancient history and how the gods were formed, and I'm like, this is polytheism. What? That's why I don't like looking into the histories of any manned religion. It just turns me off.
Yeah. Well, but I was thinking maybe there was some truth to that, man, and that's where they got the last name Elway. You know what I mean?
Well, it was he said one was a god of war and the other one was a god of peace.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. And it was talking about the not the 70 men, but the 24 elder, or what are they called in Revelation?
The elders?
I think it is the elders.
Is it the elders? Okay. Well, they were calling them different gods, and God was the ruler of these gods. And I'm like, what?
Is that guy supposed to be is he supposed to be a Christian?
No, a rabbi.
Well, why would he? Yeah, why would he be talking about the?
Yeah,
I don't
who
know.
listens to rabbis anyways of today? They're no rabbis.
No, it was when we were all talking about the name search, and this guy's video was titled something about God's name. That's why I was watching everybody's how they came to the word God. The more I watched, the more I realized everybody's just guessing.
Yeah,
That's what happens when you get your degree out of a Cracker Jack box that you bought on the internet. You know what I
Well,
mean?
it's not a Cracker Jack box. It's part of the system. Everybody's getting their degree.
Nah, man.
And
The whole,
Yes.
education is actually, if you define that, it's the word of what's the word where you physically do something, but once you get away from that term, it becomes indoctrination. Now you're just following the men before you on what they've thought.
Mhm.
That's the
Yeah,
only difference between
taking their
indoctrination
teachings.
and education.
Hey, what's that man? I had his name. He's a rabbi, but he's young and he's a Trinitarian, and he hangs out with all the Trinitarians on the channel.
Oh, yeah, Eduardo.
Eduardo, yeah, I think that's him. Yeah, he's a messianic rabbi.
No, he's the Puerto Rican
It is.
dude that found out he has a little bit of Jewish blood in him, so now he's
Yeah,
full
something.
blown
So all
Jewish
of a sudden,
in
yeah,
his own
he's
mind.
he's a rabbi.
Yeah,
There's
radar apologetics.
Radar. That's it. Radar apologetics. Right.
of all the Torah observant Hebrew roots and Messianic people that I have met, I would say that 50% of them will still believe in the Trinity.
Yeah, and this guy's definitely Trinity, and he's a rabbi, and he kind of goes by some Torah stuff. I mean, unbelievable. It's just like and there's one truth, and we should all be in one accord. And look at all the variations of everything. It's just unbelievable.
Yep. Yeah, and that guy's an alright guy, man. But
No, I've heard him. I couldn't remember his name, but yeah, Ray. I do like him. I like almost all of them, but some.
Yeah,
It's
he's
just
got a lot of wrong
it's
thinking.
sad though. It's just sad that they're all deceived like that. They believe what they believe, and they all have different beliefs, but they all like team up. And now lately they're all going. Some of them are going against each other because of what's been happening, especially the Orthodox against the Protestants.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think those.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I don't think those Orthodox have really ever really been accepting of anyone. It's kind of that whole thing of, well, we have the true church and you're not it.
Right.
Even if they were being friendly, like under the surface, that was the thinking, right?
Right. No, you're right. They were deceptive. They were acting. They were pretending to be all encompassing and hey, yeah, let's just hang out. But yeah, it's obvious they weren't.
That you guys were talking about Nehemiah Gordon the other day. I was just curious, the show that he's been on, Michael Rood's show.
I don't think I've heard that name. Michael Rubes.
Rood.
Yeah, Michael Rood.
I've met him twice, and I actually go to a fellowship occasionally. It's quite far away, but his sister goes to that fellowship. And she was telling me stuff about Nehemiah because he doesn't believe in the Messiah, but he was always on Michael Rood's translating Hebrew stuff for him. And there was an incident, I guess, where Nehemiah was translating something on the Hebrew side, and this lady's husband said, "Yeah, but these other rabbis say this," and turned into a great big stink hole with them. And I thought, well, that's interesting, because Michael Rood, who is a performing, Christian or whatever, is always using Nehemiah Gordon for his translations, and somebody who denies the Messiah. I find that really fascinating.
Yeah. I'd like to know the proper pronunciation of either Tovia Singer or Tobiah Singer, his first name. Anybody know the proper pronunciation?
I think he goes by Tovia.
Tovia. I found myself sometimes saying Tovia and Tobiah because I I don't know which one.
Yeah, I think it's Tovia. But
I've heard him on his channel, but I've never heard his name pronounced. So it's like, man, it's funny.
So he's on Will I Am, his channel a lot, and he just calls him Rabbi all the time. He just calls him Rabbi. So
just skip the vowels and call the guy TV. You know what I mean?
Who is this guy? It kind of sounds familiar.
Tovia is, or Tovia, Tovia, however you want to say it. He is today. I would say him and Michael Skobac are the two kind of biggest, well-known rabbis on kind of YouTube.
Mm.
Anyway, I don't know about like outside of YouTube world and in the real world or whatever, but on YouTube, Michael Skobac and Tovia would definitely be the two kind of main ones. There are a few others which I listen to, but those would be the two. Michael Skobac is I find, I don't know, I think I find Michael Skobac easier to listen to, even though they're both saying things which I fundamentally agree with. I don't know. There's something about Tovia I'm not.
You mean disagree with?
His personality.
I don't know. There's something. He comes across. The thing is, I think with Michael Skobac, you know where you stand. He doesn't like Christianity, and he doesn't pretend in any way. He is very blah 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 blah. Whereas Tovia comes across as this like nice dude who talks, and he's doing it out of love, and I really want you to see the truth, my people. I promise you, I love you. And he comes. I don't know. He's more studied than I'll ever be. So's Michael Skobac. They're more studied than I'll ever be. But unfortunately, they're more wrong than I'll ever be.
Well, that's why.
What do you guys? What do you, LJ? What do you think of the Bible Project guy,
Who?
Mackey, Tim Mackey? To me, for a Christian, he seems to have some of the better.
I know the name, Tim Mackey.
Tim Mackey.
I don't know why that sounded like a politician's name, man.
Oh, for a Christian, I gotta say, he really gets to the Hebrew intents of the Scripture beautifully.
Don't know him very well.
He's a scholar under who's that famous guy? Or I don't know if he's a scholar of Heiser. He either did the same schooling or training as Heisner, or he actually trained with Heisner. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But Tim Mackey is, yes, and they have a bunch of Bible shorts, and he's constantly telling the people the Hebrew intent of what this means in the scriptures with little cartoons. They're short segments. They do one verse or one book at a time. But he's at the end of it, he's still a Trinitarian, and which surprises me when he speaks, but he still believes in that stuff. But for a Christian, though, I think he does the best job. If I was a Christian, I mean, that's what I would watch.
Right, I need to nip out in a minute because I need to go off and get some food. But I shall be back because obviously I'm going to be doing my live.
Yeah, we're going to probably just hang it up here too. I was just trying to kill time while I had some time. Maybe if somebody like you guys did come and kind of just hang out a bit. So
by the campfire, yeah, baby.
Well, I appreciate you all coming, and we'll.
I've got to send Baz a message as well, and I to tell him to.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel. Good to have you. And
shalom, shalom.
Yeah, we'll head over to LJ. The link is in the chat. I'll send you the link to your Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, for you folks down there on YouTube, if you guys want to go over there, like Freddie just said, the link to LJ's channel is right there in the chat. If you want to click on that quick, go over and subscribe. He's not going to be going live until let me see. About an hour and 10 minutes from wherever you are.
Hour and 10. Okay. So that would be, let's see, 3:30.
Deleted it.
It's 8:30 his time. So
we have to resend it in there.
Yeah.
3:30.
I was trying to.
Are you in Eastern or Central time zone?
I'm Eastern.
Yeah, then it would be like 3:30. Yeah.
Yeah, check it out.
Indeed.
All right.
Shalom, shalom, fellas. Love y'all.
All right.
Peace,
Yeah,
man.
you too. Love you. Take care. I'll send a link to you. Let me.
I'm finally figuring out Facebook.
I did a rookie
Good
mistake
stuff.
here, trying to do something and clicked on. Anyways,
Oh.
back in the chat. I'm going to send it to your Facebook right now. All right.
All right. I'm gonna jump out, pretty.
All right. No problem.
See
I'm
you.
sending it to you too, just so you have quick, easy access to it.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Clay.
There it is.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, LJ. We'll see you in a bit. And to everyone that did stop by, appreciate it. God bless. And share, pass the word, and take care, everybody.